Cool. So I guess while everyone's coming up here, one of the first things I'd like to say, speaking on behalf of the student body, is we hope that those smart chairs that he was talking about don't come to BYU. And there's a couple of reasons. One, we don't want professors to be able to know when we come and when we don't. And two, we don't want them monitoring our heart rates to be able to tell when we're sleeping in their classes. So I guess the first thing we should do is kind of introduce this panel. My name is Brandon Hatch. I'm the BYUSA president this year. And I think to introduce everyone, we should kind of go with kind of what I like to call the dessert party introduction. For those of you familiar with BYU culture, you know that we go to a lot of parties on Sunday night with dessert, and we kind of get to know each other. We get to know each other's name, our major, where we're from, and this isn't a very dessert party-esque thing, but what we do here on campus. And we'll go ahead and start over here with Jessica Godfrey.
Hello, my name is Jessica Godfrey. I'm from Henderson, Nevada, studying public relations, and on campus, I am the executive vice president of BYUSA.
My name is Garrison Fredline. I'm a junior in chemical engineering. I'm from Lowell, Michigan, and I work in academic publishing at the BYU bookstore.
My name's Sam Gubler. I'm a sophomore in computer science, and I work for the OIT working on the mobile app.
My name's Zach Miller. I am 24 from Central Point, Oregon, majoring in advertising. And I'm currently a student taking a leave of absence, but am excited to return and get back to working in the library, what I'm representing today. So, thank you.
Thank you, guys. So I guess kind of give you a little background. One of the things that we did when we were asked to serve on this panel is Jess and I, we got on our Facebooks and we asked all of our friends, I guess through one of our posts, what we would like to see changed on campus. And so we've kind of compiled a list of questions that kind of bring out some of the most popular concerns that students have and things that they would like to see change. But I feel kind of bad that we were given the, I guess, the role of kind of addressing the needs, because I feel like there's one thing that I guess, overarching theme as you talk to students is gratitude. We are very grateful to all of you for all of your hard work, for all of the innovation that's happening on campus, and we're definitely grateful for just the great learning opportunity that we have here at BYU. So I hope that what these different, I guess what could come across as criticisms of what we have thus far on campus doesn't come across as just criticism, but also that we're here to work together with you. And I guess we'll start with the first question, asking Jess. Jess, what would you say is the biggest concern or biggest need that we need to address on campus?
One thing, at least coming from a standpoint of being very socially active, involved in different activities on campus, would be a centralized calendar of all the different things that are going on campus. We really appreciate the efforts that have been made so far to construct something like that, but it would be amazing and build off of the good things we already have if students could choose different push feeds of different parts on campus that they'd be able to find out about the different events or opportunities that are provided on campus through the calendar.
So kind of as Jess said, one of the things that we noticed is a lot of students, it's easy, I guess, to get lost at BYU. With over 30,000 students, a lot of times we find there's just so much going on, and a lot of times the average student isn't that cued into it. And so as Jess mentioned, having some solution where we could see and subscribe, because I think we don't want to know, some students don't care to know about sports and other students don't care to know about arts, but being able to subscribe and specifically choose the different segments of entertainment or other events on campus would be a great asset. Just go ahead and down the line. What would you say is the biggest, what do you think needs to be addressed most on campus?
One thing that I know of when specifically talking to other students here on campus was we've heard in other universities around the country this idea of being able to stream and record lectures. I know that's something that a lot of students do appreciate. I had one professor here on campus that did allow us, he actually set it up every lecture, a webcam and a microphone so he could stream his lectures in case we weren't able to attend. And so that was something I know a lot of students showed particular interest in because contrary to popular belief, we do have a lot of commitments outside of school too. So sometimes things collide and we have to make a choice whether we're gonna go to class or do another commitment, and it is very helpful when there is an opportunity available to us to view what we missed in class.
What would you say when you had that teacher making that available? How did you feel the students responded to that?
It was very positive. One thing I did notice is class attendance didn't actually drop. Because we could see on his screen who was actually watching via computers or other devices, and there were only usually about 1 or 2. The maximum we ever hit was 5. So the majority of students still came to class, but it was very convenient for us in case something came up and we weren't able to make it to class.
Awesome. That makes me kind of think a little bit about Khan Academy and the ability to kind of watch something, re-watch something, watch it on slow-mo, watch it fast to review something. I think that'd be a great addition as well. Sam, how about you? What would you say of BYU's technology, what needs the most attention?
I'd say something that a lot of students are looking for is more digital content from their classes, be it digital textbooks, having the ability, especially with a lot of these packets that we have for classes, instead of having to carry around a large packet of information, be able to get that content digitally and decide for ourselves what we want to be able to print out, be able to use. Having that available to us for a quick view on, especially with how many mobile devices are coming onto campus, being able to view that and then decide what we want to actually bring with us to class in a print form would be a significant help to students.
I actually had someone in my class last semester. He went to the bookstore and he purchased the packet for one of our classes, as did I. But then he actually went and took, I think this kind of demonstrates how strong the desire is for this. He took that packet, he went back to the library, he stuck it on one of the scanners and he scanned the entire thing back in. He then ran it through Adobe Acrobat, did the OCR, and now uses it on his iPad. And so I've kind of adopted that same mentality that I'll buy the packet and then I want to scan it in because I'd rather read it on my iPad and be able to search the whole document. Zach, how about you?
As an advertising student, we talk a lot about brand identity and kind of pushing a message across. And I've noticed through BYU's web pages and their websites that there's a lot of confusion. I know on the homepage it looks great, and I'm really grateful for that makeover that provides a lot more information to the students. But when you go a few pages deeper into the web page, there's a lot of different web pages, a lot of different systems that students have to learn. And a lot of the department websites have completely different designs and guidelines. And so for me, I'd like to see more continuity and web design standards put forth by the BYU community. I think that would make it an easier experience for students to find a lot of the stuff that we're talking about. We know that there's a lot of technology and a lot of resources available to students here on campus, but when they start to look for things on the website, they find that they're in a completely different looking website. While it's part of the BYU community, it's not familiar to them, and so they feel like, well, I don't have to relearn an entire new system or get to know a new website. And so I think having that familiarity with the different services and students being able to find that information in a simple way is really something that could be helpful. I mean, you look at Apple, we all have Apple devices, and that's a really good example of continuity. It's familiar to people who go from one device to the next, and they're able to just pick up right where they left off on something and say, I know how to use this, and then they just keep going with it. And I think that that's something that we could learn from different design standards in the industry, and being able to really bring together all of our different services under one umbrella and make sure that students are able to just go to any website, any service, and really be familiar with it. And sort of like what we've done with the My Financial Center and with the Learning Suite, they're similarly designed, they look familiar, and I think students are really taking advantage of that and are really enjoying those new experiences on the web.
Yeah, I think speaking as I've spoke with students and talked to them a little bit about the website, Zach just brought this up, but one of the things that we are most pleased with is the redesign of the website as a whole, but also my financial center. My financial center is so much easier to use. I remember I used to get really frustrated when I'd have to go to my financial center, and now I go in there and I feel like everything's so organized and easy to find. So we like to thank you for that. Something else that was kind of brought up here, I guess, and I think is probably what a lot of you here are interested in, is Learning Suite. So Learning Suite, I think, is another big win thus far for BYU. However, as I've spoken with students, there's definitely been some questions, some comments, and concerns. And so we're going to go ahead and go down this row again and maybe talk about some of the things that Learning Suite could improve on to really just go above and beyond. And we'll start over here with Jess.
So I also love the new Learning Suite. It makes things so much easier. One thing that I feel like we could work on is providing an option for students to take quizzes and see all the quiz questions at once, because it becomes a little bit stressful when the time is ticking down and you have 5 minutes, 4 minutes, 3 minutes to take, a 15-question quiz, and you can only click to go to one question at a time. So that would be really helpful if an option for seeing all the questions at once was given to the students.
I kind of have an embarrassing story with this. This year, I actually dropped this class after, but I took a quiz that had 6 questions, but only 5 were showing on the first page, and I had 5 minutes to take it. And I had budgeted my time thinking I was fine, and then in the last 10 seconds, I saw that there was a 6th question on the next page, and by the time I had read half of it, the timer was up and I lost the point. So I had to drop that class and move on. Anyway, let's go down the row.
So one thing that I particularly have enjoyed about Learning Suite, going along the lines, I know we're entering a decentralized world, but I kind of like the centralized nature of Learning Suite. It's definitely convenient for me as a student. I've had particular problems in the past with professors in semesters having to go to 3 or 4 websites, different websites to access the course materials. And so Learning Suite has definitely helped in that regard. But one thing that was brought up, one concern that people would like to address is even more integration, bringing Learning Suite to your My BYU page, being able to see parts of Learning Suite on the page. Because when you log into My BYU, you're coming from the BYU homepage, and you're not seeing anything that's happening on Learning Suite, so it's just one more page that you have to see. So if it were able to be integrated and to be brought into My BYU, I know that would definitely be appreciated.
Thank you. Let's go ahead down with Sam.
I also agree with Garrison that it is nice. There isn't a lot of control probably that this room has as far as instructors implementing and using the Learning Suite, but when they do, it definitely makes for a much more centralized experience, being able to find all of my classes there. To go along with what Garrison said, it would be nice to also have in Learning Suite the ability to view your schedule or the information that the instructors put in at a week at a time, or to be able to change that information so that I can see for a given day all of my classes, what I have due from those teachers, and then to be able to implement that into My BYU. That's kind of trying to be the central hub for all things students. For students on an individual basis, it would be nice for them to be able to see what it is their classes are expecting from them.
So one thing that Sam just kind of touched on is the use of My BYU. I know with just the name, I assume that My BYU is supposed to be that centralized website that we all head to first. It's the one with the link is on the top of the BYU homepage. But as I've talked to other students, I think one of the things we found is that maybe that isn't as central as it could be, and maybe there are different functionalities that could be added to make it that way. The kind of a week at a glance, seeing your whole Learning Suite, kind of what's going on in Learning Suite for you that week would be very helpful, as well as seeing other important information, maybe this calendar we're talking about. Because right now, at least in my own personal experience, I find that I head to Learning Suite first, and then if I need to go to My BYU, that's kind of a secondary resource. Let's move on down to Zach and maybe talk a little bit more about what you feel could best be
Yeah,
improved.
I just want to echo the thoughts of what everyone said here. I think they're all great. They're really helpful. Something that I think would be great is the ability to take that information in Learning Suite and to export it into my own life. I'm an avid user of Google Calendar, and I use it for everything, and I think it would be really exciting and really nice to have all of that information be able to export into my Google Calendar. I'd like to know when my assignments are due, when these tests and quizzes are. Having all that information in a way that's comfortable for me could be really helpful, and to make that also available for whatever other standards there are out there, iCal or something like that. I just think being able to take the information that's available to us and to put it in a form that's most comfortable for us is something that could be really helpful. Kind of like what we've talked about with the Week at a Glance, putting everything it's familiar to us, and really trying to kind of simplify the process of what's the information that is out there. Because again, I think that's the problem, is there's a lot of information out there. We go to 3 or 4 different sites for a single class, and there's just a lot to remember and a lot to keep track of when we've got so much going on. And I think having all of that under the umbrella of My BYU or Learning Suite, and then being able to take that information and use it how we want to, is something that could be really beneficial to students.
Cool, thank you. So one of the phrases I think that you've all heard a million times since the invention of the iPhone is, "There's an app for that." And so I guess the question I'd have for you, Zach, is if there was something on campus that you wish you could say there's an app for that, what would it be?
And I think kind of the obvious answer to that is Learning Suite. There's the BYU app, and that's fantastic, and I think it has a lot of great resources for students. But we're here to go to school and to learn and to do homework and to take tests and stuff like that. And I think having an app for Learning Suite is something that could really just increase its use. We could probably find a lot of other improvements that we don't know about. And I think being able to take that into a mobile experience, because I think we've seen that mobile experience is what's taking over. I read a report last year that more people access the internet through mobile applications than they do their web browsers. And so I think that that's a telling sign that we need to create applications for students to use. And being able to access the content, whether it's PDFs or assignments or quizzes, on their phone. I know if a student's up in Salt Lake or something and they forgot I have to take a quiz tonight, being able to access it on their phone is something that can be really helpful. It could really expand their schooling and where they can complete assignments and things like that. And so just being able to create tools for students to use to take advantage of what's available, such as Learning Suite, and providing them options. And I think that's one of the big things that we were able to discuss is give us options and let us choose the best way to complete our education, and then we'll go from there and hopefully do well in what we're doing. So.
Thank you. Sam, question for you. What would you say the university offers that students don't know about, and how could BYU better communicate it to students?
You know, one of the things when I got hired on at the Office of Information Technology to work on the mobile app is I didn't realize how many actual web services and stuff there were. I've noticed that a lot of the ideas or things that we build, they're good and we try to fill function. I think that if students who did have those skill sets to work with those web services knew about them, and could access them and knew where they were, they could also build much greater implementations of what we've done. We can come up with good ideas, but there are a ton of students that can also come up with good ideas that can better serve the student community. Another thing that I found out, I didn't realize how many services were available in the library, from digital media conversion to being able to rent video equipment, things of that nature. I don't know how well that is broadcast to the student population.
Okay, thank you. Let's talk a little bit about Wi-Fi. I know, I think we posted these Facebook posts and we got about 30 responses in 12 to 24 hours. Wi-Fi came up a lot. What would, let's go ahead and ask Garrison, what do you think needs to be improved most with Wi-Fi?
The Wi-Fi I feel on campus is very good. It's easily accessible in most locations, and I find that the speed is more than adequate for what I need to do. However, there are particular locations on campus where it can be a little difficult. I have a class this semester, humanities class, in the basement of the JFSB, and that is sort of like a black hole of Wi-Fi. There's nothing down there. And I've noticed it can be challenging, especially, I like to take notes by hand still. I guess I'm behind the times with that, but I know a lot of students in that class use Evernote and other note-taking softwares that are synced and with a cloud storage, and with the lack of Wi-Fi, that can be very challenging to them wanting to take notes and to make sure that they get all the information down. And I just know that for me is a particular location where I think Wi-Fi availability would be very convenient and nice to have.
Thank you. I actually had a recent experience. There was a Wi-Fi issue in the Marriott school. Tanner building Wi-Fi was down for most of one morning, and I came into my business strategy class, and the teacher called on one of the students and said, well, what do you think about this case we've been talking about? And he said, to be honest, I would respond right now, but everything I have is on Google Docs, and and the internet is down. And so he was just kind of sitting like a sitting duck. He didn't have an answer for him because everything he had was on the cloud. And kind of like the presentation we just heard, more and more things seem to be moving that way, and having that connectivity all the time, while it can be potentially distracting, is something that a lot of students feel is really necessary. Kind of wrapping up a little bit, what would you guys say, from a student's perspective, maybe we'll start and go down the row. What would you say is the one takeaway that you hope everyone here takes away from this panel?
I would say, first off, you guys have done a great job, and we really do appreciate everything that you have done, and we're excited to see what new advances will come and enhance our educational experience. And also that the biggest thing that I feel like students could benefit from is knowing about the resources that are available. Really, if you make even more of an effort to let students know that there are different resources that will help enhance their experience, that would be most beneficial.
Echoing her thoughts, we are really grateful for the changes that have been made. I know I'm particularly pleased with Learning Suite and some of the other features that are available. The one drive-home message that I've consistently heard from students is digital content. With the dawn of the Google Nexus and the Kindle Fire and all these other more affordable tablets, students are starting to integrate the tablet into their school experience. And that has been something that I've noticed a lot of them want to integrate even more. There are apps out there where they can download their PowerPoint slides and write directly on them and things like that. And I know those are sort of the things that more students would like to see integrated into our learning experience.
I definitely agree with what Jessica and Garrison have said, that we truly are grateful that these advancements are definitely helping making our college experience more beneficial to us. And with Garrison, I especially agree that moving to a digital content era where students will probably still have the availability of print content if it is not available for them to get it digitally, but to be able to move in a direction where the digital forms of that content is more available is something that students are looking for more regularly. I definitely think that with working on the BYU app, we get to see how many students utilize the app, and we're seeing that number grow consistently, that we're seeing more and more people trying to get information about their classes digitally. They want all this content in a digital form, and we're going to see that continue to grow. So getting students that content digitally is definitely going to be a huge improvement for them.
Just want to repeat, yeah, we're again grateful. I mean, really, this is a first world problem. We're talking about Wi-Fi availability. It's not that big of a deal. So we're really grateful for what you guys have done. And I think for me, the biggest takeaway I hope that you guys could have is just know that we're only 4 students of 30,000 students, and we're only 4 voices that you're hearing today. But I'm sure there are a lot of other students out there who have opinions, who can easily contribute to something like this. And I would hope that there's more dialogue, that there's a better forum for these students to contribute their ideas. I try to play devil's advocate sometimes because it's easy to get carried away in your own thoughts, just to try to ask hard questions or what. I feel like I'm the exception to the norm. I know there are people out there who don't know what I know about technology, and their voices need to be heard too, because it's their experience that we're really worried about, is someone who doesn't understand this technology. How do they use the tools that are available to them? And I would just hope that we're able to reach out to them and to get their opinion, and to really draw the voices from BYU into this discussion, and to make sure that we're accounting for everybody that needs to be heard, because I think that's when we'll reach a point where everyone is comfortable using the technology that's available on BYU's campus. So thank you.
Thank you. So we have about 3 minutes left, and I know that if I were in the audience right now, I would have listened to one of the responses and inevitably kind of found my way asking weird questions to myself. And so I guess I'd like to just open it up. If there's maybe someone has one question out here they'd like to ask this panel about technology or an issue that they face maybe in their department. You want to answer this?
I think students deal with a lot of information today already with Twitter and Facebook and whatever they use on the internet. It's just a matter of, I think, presenting that information in a way that's easy for them to read, because we feel like we have so much that's going on in our lives, and we probably do. We have a lot of stuff. We don't have time to read these lengthy reports or anything like that. And I think that when we talk about notifications, usually what we're used to is probably a 10-word blurb on our phone that says, so-and-so commented on your post, or something like that. And I think being able to present that information, it's clear and it's effective and efficient, I think that's the most, in my opinion, the thing that could help the most is just tell me that my tuition is due at this much on this date, and tell me where to go. Or something to that effect. And I'm not really sure how you would implement that, but it's really this simplicity. I think students feel like they're overwhelmed by sometimes the college experience, that there's so much that I have to do, that to simplify that message and to just get to the bullet points of what we need to do is something that could be really effective.
Thank you. Well, again, we're so grateful for the opportunity to be here. We know that this isn't something that you have to do by any means, but that you choose to do so that you can best serve us. And we are very grateful for you taking this time to listen to us and to hear the concerns that we have. So thank you very much. We appreciate your time.
I get to be the first of the lightning round presenters, and I hope lightning strikes you well in this case. So we'll